It actually has been a very important week for monetary policy, but today we're also going to hear from Ben Bernanke. Now, we've got big plans. That's what Governor Andrew Bailey has said about this upcoming review from Ben Bernanke, but really it comes down to two different types of forecasting: inflation and policy. Let's look at inflation first. The bank has come under heavy criticism. We know that for the fact it has missed on predicting inflation, underestimating the pace of price hikes as they went up, and then failing to catch how fast they would abate. At their worst, bank predictions on inflation were as much as 5 percentage points out of sync with the actual data. Then there's the matter of telegraphing rate expectations. Now, there's some speculation that Bernanke could recommend a Fed-style dot plot. He was the man that introduced that stateside, since it was under his stewardship, as I was saying, that the US Bank adopted that model. Now, one argument in favor is that the Bank of England currently bases its forecasts on market expectations, which have typically mistaken smoke for fire. Research compiled by the London School of Economics, shows markets have overpredicted the bank's policy rate by more than a whole percentage point every year over the last decade and a half. Since 2022, they have underpredicted by more than 3 percentage points a year. So the FT has actually reported that there's a growing number of MPC officials that are in favor of alternative scenario model. Currently, that's used by Riksbank, where policymakers set out how changing external factors could alter the rate path. Now, it is very important to take a step back and understand what could come out of this review, because it could have implications on the way that the Bank of England, communicates. And when I had the chance to speak to a former member of the Bank of England, Deanne Julius, I asked her really what is the biggest problem for the Bank of England? Is forecasting or communication?
I think it probably will, partly because it just shows the transparency with which the Bank of England, and the governor in particular, speaks to all of us, the media and the public, admitting that actually the forecast didn't work very well. And I think they also probably took a lesson from what happened about 18 months ago when they produced a forecast that showed a 2-year recession caused by the rapid rise in interest rates. Now, that was headlines in the Financial Times. It was on radio, on television. That itself conditions expectations in the country. So they have to be very careful about what they say and how they say it. And I suspect that not only the governor but other MPC members are more careful. And they just need to rehearse a little bit more.
So they have a communication problem, perhaps more than a forecasting problem.
They have a communication problem, but it's very closely linked to forecasting, because they use the forecast as the bedrock of their communication, and I think it doesn't deserve to be used that strongly.